Here's how it was.
Give me the lowdown. Give me the whole lowdown. I'm just trying to learn.
The skinny, yeah. I had just moved back from California, and I had been exposed to peace marches. I'd gone to peace marches and anti-Vietnam things, and I saw one little tiny paragraph about a women's movement. I thought, women's movement? What would that be about? And I moved back to Gainesville, and the civil rights movement was boiling, and I was trying to get a job at the university as a TA, and I was reading about Martin Luther King in the paper and everything, and the Selma. And someone who was also a TA with me, Judith Brown, I was so lucky. She was in the paper for having gotten arrested in St. Augustine for a civil rights march. And I was just like, oh, that's the thing to be doing. And so I ran into her in the street, and I said, Judith, I was so impressed that you did that, and I want to. And so we gradually became friends. And it was amazing, because she wrote the Florida paper, which was after working with SNCC and civil rights, and she'd done all that. She was still being asked, even though she was brilliant, to make the coffee and all that. And that was the way it was for women. And she had just brilliantly saw that needed to change, that there needed to be a separate women's movement. And so I would visit her, and she was staying in a house down the way, and it was just an amazing energy. The typewriters were going, the talk was intense and brilliant and serious, and working out new stuff. And what we found in general when we started doing this was that everything in life was connected with male dominance. Males had the edge on almost every arrangement, and so we were just blown away. And the consciousness raising groups, which she had a couple going in Gainesville, and then I was a lesbian. She said, well, lesbians should organize, which was just a terrifying thought. But we did that, but why Gainesville? Like, she was a big reason, and it did pour down through civil rights, because all that organizing and all that thinking about liberation and injustice and peace, and it became clear. It shone light on other institutions all over the place. So it was just an amazing time. We had started a rape crisis center. I was the first director of the sexual abuse center. We had a bookstore, we had newsletters. This is all starting in the early 70s and even late 60s, and way ahead of most of the country. And one thing led to another. You know, you meet one person who was fired up, and the fire would spread. As Mao said, spark can start a prairie fire. And that was the mood. And we had this feeling that we could change things. And we were changing things really fast. We saw something that needed to be done. We would have meetings. We would get an organization. Like when we started the Sexual Abuse Resource Center, we did finally get a little grant. But pretty much, we weren't using United Way or anything. We had a pile of volunteers. We were just very passionate about making a better world. And so there was the birth center. It was one of the Feminist Health Center was one of the first in the country. the Women's Land, I was very involved with that, first in the country. Lesbian CR, first in the country. Lots of civil rights and CR groups. It was pretty amazing. It was a great place to be. And, you know, it's contagious. So, and spiritually, I think, well, it's also that the springs are here. Area has more springs, and it sort of was a feeling of energy springing up, and it's a good thing to be around, and it's a good thing to be an hour from the Gulf and an hour from the ocean. It's an extraordinary place, Gainesville is, and it's a crossroads where people from the West Coast and the Caribbean and, you know, the East Coast, a lot of people come, and it was a thrilling time, and it still is. Gainesville is still a very sharp place, I'd say. Any other questions about that?